We are moving on to the second section of the first canto. It's a very beautiful description about the conflict, the psychological conflict Savitri is facing in her moment of joy. Whatever Savitri wanted to be fulfilled, that was already fulfilled. All was fulfilled in the heart of Savitri. That is what we have. Now, of course, when he says all was fulfilled, what Savitri's heart had desired, that is, in a way, the comment to the poet. It is the poet who is saying that. In another way, we can also say that, yes, Savitri wanted this to happen, this has happened. But that does not really still include all. All is yet to come. All is yet to begin. All was fulfilled that Savitri's heart had desired, that has yet to come. In the immediate context, yes, she wanted to be with Satyavan, and that's all, that was fulfilled. So when poet says all was fulfilled, the heart of Savitri had desired, it is in a way his comment. Also anticipating what is going to happen in the course of her yoga. Yes, Savitri will do her yoga, accomplish the kind of strength, acquire the kind of strength which is required to meet the eventuality, to face death. So that also will be fulfilled, you see. So in that sense, it is quite appropriate that we have got that phrase right at the beginning of the book of yoga. In the context of the book of yoga, all was fulfilled. Yes, this is going to happen shortly. So he is anticipating that the yoga will be done and Savitri has acquired the necessary strength to meet death. Now here in the opening part of the second section of the canto, he is gradually developing the theme of the conflict Savitri as human Savitri is facing. The full element of humanity is that which is coming out most prominently in this particular section. At first, to her, beneath the sapphire heavens, the sylvan solitude was a gorgeous dream. The sylvan solitude was a gorgeous dream. Sylvan solitude, the forest where she is going to stay. Solitude, of course, but it is the fulfillment of her dream. Savitri, as a young girl who had opted for this particular kind of eventuality, is now going to meet that eventuality, and therefore in it is the fulfillment of her dream. That dream will have to become real shortly. Gorgeous dream, an altar of the summer's splendor and fire, a sky-topped flower-hung palace of the gods, and all its saints smile on rapturous lips, and all its voices bards of happiness. This is a description to bring out the contrast of what Savitri, the way Savitri was living in the palace and the way she is now going to live in the forest, in the hermitage. It is not big palace hall with chandeliers, lights, musicians, that pomp and glory and majesty and all that. that royalty, but here the whole nature is in its full splendor, splendor and fire. An altar of the summers, splendor and fire. Now again, this is important. As I have been telling all along, the summer is significant. Savitri now comes to the forest in summer. Exactly 1 year after her arrival now here, the death of Satyavan will take place again in summer. So there is a consistency throughout about the event occurring in the summer. Splendor and fire, hot sun, a sky-topped flower-hung palace of the gods. So you have got now the creepers hanging down below Madhumalati with flowers and all that. Madhumalati, that is faithfulness, you see. A sky-topped flower-hung palace of the gods, and all it sees a smile on rapture's lip. So it is rapture who himself is personified. On these rapture's lips, there is a smile. The whole nature is at beauty's festival again with the arrival of Savitri, and it is smiling because of her presence there. And all these voices, birds of happiness. Means, of course, all the voices of birds that correspond to the birds, singing, going from branch to branch of the tree. And all these voices, birds of happiness. There was a chanting in a casual wind. There was a glory in the least sunbeam. So every little bit of that place appears to Savitri bright and shining and smiling and joyous and happy, you see. Chanting in the casual wind, the wind is singing the song of happiness, of joy, of union of the lovers. There was a chanting in the casual wind. There was a glory in the least sunbeam. Even the mild sunbeam, small sunbeam also was bright. Night, so he is describing the entire sequence of the day Savitri is encountering. So, day is there, the night was a chrysoprase on velvet cloth. Very complicated simile, but what a beautiful simile you see. Night was a chrysoprase on a velvet cloth. So, that is a bright green shining gem. The belief is that that gem shines in the night, in the dark. Chrysoprase. Yes. Yeah. A green gem. Chalcodeny. Its technical name is chalcodeny. Variety of quartz contained hydrated nickel silicate. Hydrated nickel silicate, variety of quartz. It is valued very much. It was valued very much, very ancient civilization. And it is a gem which shines in the night, in the dark. So you see, you can see the appropriateness of the use of the word there. Night was a chrysoprase on velvet cloth. Yes, of course. No, his knowledge is absolutely encyclopedic and precise.
How did he come across this gem?
You see, his learning was that.
Did he see it?
He must have seen also, possibly, yeah, in England. Yeah,
I will look for that one.
yeah. He might have seen one later on also in the ashram when people were offering all kinds of jewelry and whatnot also to the mother, you see, on velvet cloth. And how appropriate it is. Night itself, again personified, is a gem now on a velvet cloth, shining darkness, you see. Velvet cloth, you see. Velvet normally, of course, it can be green, but the green will not grow with the chrysoprase. It can be dark also, black velvet, you see, and shining on that. It has to be black because of the night, because of the darkness in the next line, a nestling darkness. That velvet cloth must be a black cloth, you see. You know the saying of velvet, Napoleon used to say, put your hand in the velvet glove, your iron hand in velvet glove. Strong fist, but let the appearance be velvet, soft. Give a punch when it is required, hard punch. But first approach in a soft manner with the velvet. Iron fist in a velvet glove. That was Napoleon's phrase, you see. Night was a chrysoprase on velvet cloth. Now all these associations are there. See, I mean, night also is as if kind of wearing a velvet glove to give a proper punch. On velvet cloth and nestling darkness or a moonlit deep. You see, he is describing the entire sequence. First starts with day, splendor and fire in the summer, flower and palace of the gods, the day and all that. Now he is describing the night, nestling darkness or a moonlit deep. Day was a purple passion and a hymn, a way of the laughter of light from morn to eve. Because he was in the company of her husband, of her loving parents-in-laws, of the people around the ashram and all that. So, a way of the laughter of light from morn to eve. But when Satyavan goes out for work, in his absence was a dream of memory. His presence was the empire of a god. So in his presence, she is really the queen, the sovereign, you see, empress. How intimate these descriptions are. Savitri's psychological condition, how he is building up, you see. A fusing with the joys of earth and heaven, a tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past, a rushing of two spirits to be one, a burning of two bodies in one flame. So that is the kind of physical identity of the two. Complete identification, burning of two bodies in one flame, fusing with the joys of earth and heaven. Earth and heaven, this is the Vedic description, joy of earth and heaven. Earth, Prithvi, heaven, Java, Divya, Java, heaven. So they are the consorts of each other, heaven and earth. And the way heaven and earth embrace each other, in the same manner, Satyavan and Savitri are together here. A tremulous blaze, faltering, hesitant, that is a tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past. A rushing of two spirits to be one. So they are so much united. The conjugal relationship is so intimate that they have merged one into the other completely, you see. A burning of two bodies in one flame. In fact, he is describing for open were gates of unforgettable bliss. Two lines were locked within an earthly heaven, and fate and grief fled from that fiery hour. Obviously, everything gone in that union, that meeting. Now, this is a description which is an extremely difficult kind of a description. He is describing there is no eroticism in that. There is no pornographic aspect of it at all in that. Yet the union is so intimate. He is not telling you that it is a kind of a sexual union, but the union, even on the physical plane, is absolutely intimate. Now, this is something which really requires enormous mastery to describe a situation like this. Enormous control. You don't feel here anything sexual, passionate, erotic, pornographic at all in this one, you see, which in the hands of a lesser man would be altogether different, you see. And the poet has absolutely no hesitation in describing all these details, you see. These are not the details of the kind you would have in Lady Chatterley's Lover. I don't know whether you have read that or not.
He doesn't go down. He stays
No.
on that level. So
Yeah. See, I mean, even in Lady Chatterley's Lover, you forget about the pornographic or erotic part of it. There is a certain amount of aesthetic detachment in what he is describing. He is describing certain things with total detachment, as if he is not really concerned about the whole thing, very dispassionately. And it needs a great amount of aesthetic control, which he did attain. Lady Chatterley's Lover, the author of it, did really attain in that. But here, this is something elevated to a different level altogether. In fact, these descriptions of this kind, in a way, are there present in Shaivendu's other works also. Urvasi, Love and Death. See. But here in Savitri, the whole atmosphere is altogether different. Even in the dramas, we are seeing Vizis of Basura. See. How intimate the descriptions are there. But here the quality is totally different. A fusing of the joys of earth and heaven, a tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past, a tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past. This is actually almost as if kind of a sexual intercourse, you see. He's describing there. A tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture past, a rushing of two spirits to be one, a burning of two bodies in one flame. But here, a burning of two bodies in one flame. It is each one is offering himself or herself to the other. Satyavan is offering himself totally to Savitri. Savitri is offering herself totally to Satyavan. Normally, in all the human relationships of that kind, between husband and wife, what we have, that relation, you kind of extract from other. You demand, you want to, you are kind of hungry, you want to eat into the vital of the other. You are not really offering. You are not really offering at all, there is. You are eating into each other's vital. That is what normally the sexual relationships are there in human life, you see. But here it is, they are offering to the other. That is the remarkable difference. As burning of two bodies in one flame, each one is offering oneself to the other one. And that is the greatness of their union, of their conjugal relationship. In fact, that is the real significance of their conjugality, you see. A burning of two bodies in one flame. So there is nothing pornographic at all in this one. It is, if at all, elevated to another kind of a kamananda, the joy of union, of relationship, of ananda. See. Open were gates of unforgettable bliss. Two lives were locked within an earthly heaven, and fate and grief fled from that fiery hour. obviously, very grief now there. Because you are burning into the same flame, bright flame, you see. But soon, now, well, this happens, but Savitri is human, Savitri is still. Satyavan is, of course, human, you see. Savitri is still human, you see. But soon now fade the summer's ardent breath. Again, summer, obviously, you see, he is moving on. The days are passing. I mean, they have come together, they are living together. Naturally, a young couple, they will be very intimately connected with each other, joining each other at every moment, at every day and night. Well, it's a kind of a honeymoon or whatever you want to call it, you see, of the relationship, you see. But the days are also passing quickly. The summer is coming to an end. But soon now fade the summer's ardent breath. Ardent because of their passionate intensity of love, of their coming together, you see. And throngs of blue-black clouds crept through the sky. So this rain is coming now shortly, you see. And rain fled sobbing over the dripping leaves. So all the leaves are making sounds, you see, sobbing over the dripping leaves. And storm became the forest titan voice. So really furious rains, you see, they have already arrived here. This is, of course, the picture of North India. This happens in summer, in June, July, you see. And storm became the forest titan voice. Then, listening to the thunder's fatal crash, and the fugitive pattering footsteps of the showers, and the long unsatisfied panting with the wind, and sorrow muttering with the sound vexed night, the grief of all the world came near to her. So, the rains have brought her grief. The ardent summer is over. Now the grief is coming to Savitri. And sorrow muttering, the sound vexed night, sound vexed because of the pattering of the rains and all that. The grief of all the world, this is important, grief of all the world. Savitri's grief is actually the grief of the entire world. Came near to her, night's darkness seemed her future's ominous face. Night's darkness, this is the meeting of the lovers in the night. So even in that meeting, the grief comes to her, to Savitri. It's not in the day, you see. Night's darkness seemed her future's ominous face. Savitri is now connecting this darkness of night with the day which is advancing very fast, day told by Narad that 1 year after the marriage he will die. So that memory is now getting awakened in Savitri, although she is enjoying the relationship with Satyavan, you see. Night's darkness seemed her future's ominous face. The shadow of her lover's doom arose, and fear laid hand upon her mortal heart. Obviously, she is now afraid. There is a kind of a dread now in her breast. Yes, shortly he is going to die. So that is now kind of piercing into her breast, into her heart. And fear laid. Savitri otherwise has no fear, but in the union of the lovers, suddenly this happens now, and Savitri sees that, well, this is going to happen shortly now, that he won't be there anymore. Mortal heart. See, this is important, mortal. Mortal because he is describing the entire condition of human Savitri. The full aspect of human Savitri is what is being presented to us here. Full aspect of human Savitri. She is human in every respect. Emotion, passion, love, sex, whatever is there, she is there, she is full. And fear laid hand upon her mortal heart. The moment swift and ruthless raised, alarm, her thoughts, her mind, remember Narad's date. 12 swift winged months are given to him and her. She is remembering now. Yes, Narad has already foretold that thing. The moment swift and ruthless raced, alarmed her thoughts. Her mind remembered Nara's date. Actually, Nara's date means he had described the day, the time, on which day, the time, the hour, and the moment. Everything is in memory. The day, the time, the hour, the moment. What the Sanskrit text says, Muhurtam, Kshanam, Velam, Divasam. Muhurtam, moment. Kshanam, hour. Velam, time. And Divasam, day. So she is remembering now day, time, hour, moment. Yes, it's going to happen now. It's going to happen. So that thing is now constantly haunting her. You see all the way. While she is in the embrace of her lover, she at once realizes, oh, this is going to happen now shortly, you see. Her thoughts and mind remembered Nara's date, a trembling, moved accountant of her riches. Yes, all the riches are there. Now she is keeping an account of all those riches, of all those beautiful moments of life with her husband. A trembling, moved accountant of her. Moved because she is passionate, she is emotional, she is charged. She reckoned the insufficient days between. Obviously, now it means that this is almost coming towards the end of the year. You see, she reckoned the insufficient days between. A dire expectancy knocked at her breast. Yes, it is going to happen shortly, shortly, shortly. Dreadful to her were the footsteps of the hours. The hours are moving swiftly, you see. Grief came, a passionate stranger, to her gate. For Savitri, there was never the question of grief, but he is coming now to her as a guest, a passionate. Yes, I demand my share. This is what the grief is telling her, Savitri. Grief came, a passionate stranger, to her gate. At the doorstep, now is standing, that grief. Banished when he is in arms, when Savitri is in the company of Satyavan, then there is no question of grief at all. The guest is dismissed. The stranger has to walk away when he is in his company. Out of her sleep, it rose at morn to look into her face. So morning when she gets up, again she awakens to grief. In the night, she is in the happy company of her lover. Morning, she awakes to the grief standing at the doorsteps there. Vainly, she fled into the visions of bliss. From her pursuing foresight of the end. Vainly she fled. She wanted to go away into that depth of bliss which is there in the company of her lover. That is, in the depth, profound bliss in the company of her lover. She wants to go and live in that, but vainly, because that grief is knocking at her door. Vainly she fled into a vision of bliss. From her pursuing foresight of the end, the more she plunged into love, that anguish grew. Obviously, she is enjoying the company of her lover. But the more and more she enjoys, the more and more she feels the pain of the arriving time. Her deepest grief from sweetest gulls arose. Her deepest grief from sweetest gulls arose. Sweetest gulls, the abysms of bliss. Sweetest gulls, abysms of bliss. The depths of bliss, the profundity of bliss of their union, of their being together. From that depth arose grief. See, this kind of a construction is typically Aurobindo. Her deepest grief from sweetest gulls arose. The contrast very dramatic statement. It's a very dramatic statement. Her deepest grief. And see the structure. Her deep grief. Her deepest means I am. From sweet, again I am. Goes, arose. All are I ams. Her deepest grief from sweet goes, arose. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Poetically, very beautiful sentence, you see, also. Remembrance was a poignant pang. Poignant pang. Obviously, she feels the poignancy of Satyavan's absence. Remembrance, when he is no more with her, he is not with her, he has gone away for work in the day, and Savitri is without him, then it is that moment of remembrance. She remembers about her Satyavan all the while. And that was a pang. She felt each day a golden leaf torn cruelly out from her too slender book of love and joy. Her book of love and joy is a very slender book. Just 1 year, you see. Hardly 365 pages, you see. You see, for that. It should be actually 365 into 100. That is why it is a slender book. From her too slender book of love and joy. Thus, swaying in strong gusts of happiness. So you can see the kind of a seesaw game being played in her emotional heart. She is happy, she is grieving. She is happy, she is grieving. She is happy, she is grieving. She is happy in the company of her lover. She is grieving because he will be no more there tomorrow. Constantly. Thus swaying in strong gusts of happiness and swimming in foreboding somber waves. So that is the sway. Swaying is this one. Gust of happiness is one part. And foreboding somber waves. That is second part of it. And feeding sorrow and terror with her heart. For now they sat among their bosoms again. Sorrow and terror are sitting in the heart of Savitri. Bosoms guest. As they are standing there, they are sitting there as her guest. Or in her inner chamber, paced apart. Inner chamber, well, sorrow and terror will go at the same time, joy and happiness also will go. So they will move apart like that. Her eyes stared blind into the future's night. So she is looking into the night. Tomorrow, what is going to happen? She has no knowledge at all. No light is there at all for her to discern what is going to happen tomorrow. Out of her separate self, she looked and saw. Now, this is important. This is really yogic. Out of her separate self, while Savitri is so intensely emotional, charged with passion and grieving also simultaneously, sorrow and terror and abysms of bliss, both of them are there simultaneously. Yet, she has the tremendous capacity to stand apart from them, to get detached from them, separate self. She is looking at them now as a witness Purusha, as a Sakshi. She is observing them. She is simply observing. She is an observer now. Out of her separate self, she looked and saw. So already even in her human state, there is that yogic poise in Savitri. Moving amid the unconscious faces loud. So all these people who are there around, she is moving with them as a separate self. In mind, a stranger, though in heart so near, the ignorant, smiling world go happily by. Yes, the whole world is merrily going on. What grief is there in the heart of Savitri? Nobody knows. Neither Satyavan, nor his parents, nor the great rishis of the ashrama. Nobody has knowledge what Savitri is feeling, that pang. In mind, a stranger, though in heart so near, they are all very close to her, but they are stranger in their mind. They cannot understand her mind, her psychological condition, her state. In mind, a stranger, though in heart so near, the ignorant, smiling world go happily by. Everybody is doing their routine activities upon its way towards an unknown doom, and wondered at the careless lives of men. So she is really wondering how these people really live it all. She is really wondering, careless lives of men in that sense, you see. As if in different worlds they walked, in different worlds. The whole world and Savitri, they are living in two different worlds. Savitri is living in a separate self. People around her are living the normal human life. As if in different worlds they walk. Though close, yeah, they're all nearby, around, very intimate, they talk each other, exchange greetings, happiness, joys, every day. They confident of the returning sun. Yes, the sun will come back tomorrow. Now the sunset is there, tomorrow it is bound to come. So they are confident of it. They are not aware of the doom which is waiting for the creation. They wrapped in little hourly hopes and tasks. She, in her dreadful knowledge, was alone. Nobody had an inkling of what is going to happen tomorrow. Unknown doom. They are not aware of this unknown doom. Nobody. They are merely doing their routine things day after day. But she, in her dreadful knowledge, was alone. Now you see, the richness of Savitri's poetry, when you come now to this yogic aspect, you look back about what he had described earlier, the fusing of the two fires into one fire. It's not there at all in a sense. It is a different thing altogether. As if in different worlds walked. Though close, they confident to the returning sun, they wrapped in little hourly hopes and tasks. She, in a dreadful knowledge, was alone. The rich and happy secrecy that once enshrined her, as if in a silver bower, apart is a bright nest of thoughts and dreams, made room for tragic hours of solitude. So, secrecy, that happiness which is there, it has made room for the tragic event to take place in solitude, Savitri. Made room for tragic hours of solitude and lonely grief that none could share or know. Savitri's grief, nobody is knowing of that thing. A body seeing the end too soon of joy and the fragile happiness of its mortal love. Well, he is describing the condition of Savitri again. A body seeing the end too soon of joy and the fragile happiness of its mortal love. That is the tragic hour in the solitude Savitri is seeing there. Her quiet visage, still and sweet and calm. Although this is the psychological condition of Savitri, her appearance, her face is still, immobile, calm, sweet, of course. Her graceful daily acts were now a mask. So she is doing the daily routine works, cleaning the floor, pulling the water from the well, all the household things she is doing, but they were just like mask. What is really happening behind all those actions of Savitri, she alone knows. So all these outward actions were only a mask. In vain she looked upon her depths to find a ground of stillness and a spirit's peace. While she is doing it, she is searching for deep peace, spirit's peace in her, because psychologically she is charged. In vain she looked upon her depths. Yes, the conflict is so severe, so intense, and there has to be some solution. And the solution should be in getting the spirit's peace. First, it is the spirit's peace which must get established. Still away from her was a silent being within. Savitri is in such a state, but this being which is there within her heart, within her soul, he is silent. He is not coming out. He is not speaking out to Savitri at all, giving consolation, giving guidance, giving hints what Savitri should do. Still veiled doesn't mean that Savitri was expecting that in this moment of conflict she would get guidance. She is expecting that something should happen to her, but no response is coming. No response is coming. In other words, as far as the silent being is concerned, for the silent being, Savitri's state of this conflict is not yet deep enough. Is not yet deep enough for the silent being to emerge and take charge of Savitri, who sees life's drama pass with unmoved eyes. He doesn't care. It keeps on happening every day, so it's not new to him at all. He is unconcerned about the state of Savitri. That is it. Support the sorrow, the mind and heart, and bears a human breath, the world and fate. So that is the condition Savitri is. She is expecting that something will happen. She is grieving, she is calm, she says, her quiet which is still and sweet and calm. And in that daily act of activity of Savitri, she is expecting that the silent being would come and speak something to her. But he doesn't seem to get moved by this. A glimpse, but sometimes, at times, once in a while, a glimpse of flashes came, a presence was hid. Yes, suddenly some kind of an intuition flash. Some light will glow here and there, please. But the real light behind that light is absent. The presence was hid. Some flash of that presence is there, but the real presence is still behind that flash. A glimpse of flashes came. Presence was hid. Only her violent heart and passionate will were pushed in front to meet the immutable doom. So it is at the moment nothing but human Savitri with her passion, who is going to meet the immutable, the marked doom. The doom is marked, it has to happen. And therefore Savitri is defenseless, nude, bound to her human lot. You see? Because the silent being is not coming forward. Sometimes he shows his face for a short second, but the real thing is not there at all. Were pushed in front to meet the immutable doom, defenseless, nude, bound to her human lot. They had no means to act, no way to save. So that is the condition. They cannot save. These flashes, those glimpses which come, they cannot save Savitri at all from this condition. This she controlled, this condition of sorrow and grief and intense joy, she controlled. Nothing was shown outside. That is really absolutely remarkable for Savitri. You see, she is in such a terrible conflict within herself, but she does not display anything of that kind at all in her activities. She does not betray her conflict to anybody at all. Nobody suspects that Savitri might be undergoing such a conflict at all. They had no means to act, no way to. This she controlled. Nothing was shown outside. She was still to them, the child they knew and loved. They, all the people around, the parents-in-law, even Satyavan, the hermitage, residents of the hermitage, all those people, see, she was still to them, the child they knew and loved. The sorrowing woman, they saw not within. Within means that Savitri within is sorrowing. That they did not see. It is not that they within. It is sorrow. The sorrowing woman is within. So outward Savitri is not showing at all any sorrow. You see. So the sorrowing woman they saw not within. No change was in her beautiful motions seen. She is doing all the daily activities in a routine manner. And there was no change at all. A worshipped empress. Now this is very homely, very delicate, nice picture of Savitri, you see. A worshipped empress, all once white to serve. Yes, Savitri was the princess in the palace, and everybody would rush to serve her. They would not allow her to do small little household things, menial works at all, as a slave. She was worshipped there. She was so dear to everybody, and she was so charming also. A worshipped empress, all once white to serve. She made herself the diligent serf of all. And what kind of work? Now spare the labor of broom and jar and well. She used to sweep the floor. Labor of broom, sweeping the jar, bring the water from the well to the house. Pull the water from the well and put in the jar and bring it home and then carrying it. She, the princess, she is doing this thing happily, all these works. Now spare the labor of broom and jar and well, or close gentle tending, or to heave the fire, light the kitchen fire, cook food. She is doing all this household work, or heave the fire of altar and kitchen. Yajna is there. She will light the fire. In the palace, she will not be allowed to do this kind of thing at all. She will be prevented. She will be stopped. And all the people around her will do that thing. But now Savitri is doing. She is offering fire to the yajna. She is burning. She is lighting the kitchen fire. No slight task allowed to others that her woman's strength might do. Whatever a feeble woman could do, that she is doing fully, completely. She is not hesitating to undertake that kind of job. Now, she made herself the diligent serf of all. You know the story, I had told you also earlier, of how Durga was abused as the little things mother used to do. Durga used to come every October to the mother, meet her for several years. And she used to stay for some time, on some occasion, for a couple of days also with the mother. And the mother would do all kind of small little things all around here and there, you see. And Durga was amused how mother is doing those things, the small little work. Of course, mother was labor of broom and jar and well, these are symbolic in the case of the mother. But she is doing all this kitchen work, lighting, attending all the people and everything there daily. She is doing every small little thing, you see. Or close, gentle tending to heat the fire of altar and kitchen. Mother used to go daily to the dining room in the morning and see that everything is in proper order or not. She used to put her glance at the vegetables or the fruit, the food which is being cooked, and then it will be cooked, you see. No slight task allowed. So The mother was amused, sorry, Durga was amused how mother was able to do all the things. And then the mother told her, look, it is because we possess the psychic being. You don't have the psychic being. Therefore you are amused. You are living in glory, majesty, power, brilliance, all those things. But that psychic is not there. Therefore you don't feel that intimacy, that love, that charm, that joy of doing small little things. It is the psychic which gives you that joy. So this is the description of Savitri. She made herself the diligent serf of all, nor spared the labor or broom and jar and well, or close gentle tending, or to heat the fire of altar and kitchen, no slight task allowed to others that her woman's strength might do. And then you have got this beautiful statement here. In all her acts, a strange divinity shone. So whether it is the question of jar or broom or well, in all her acts, a strange divinity shone. What is the strange divinity? It is the psychic, which is now really living there. It is the psychic which is showing itself in all the acts. In all her acts, a strange divinity shone. Into a simplest moment, she could bring a oneness with earth's glowing robe of light, a lifting up of common acts by love. Lifting up of common acts by love. Common acts, the small little things which Savitri is doing. Small little things which Savitri is doing. These are the common acts. Are lifted up by love. Now, this is another way of saying lifting up common acts by your psychic being. Love here would indicate the psychic presence, which is active, which is participating in all these small little trivial things. There is a psychic joy in the participation of these things. Whether you are cooking food or doing this household work or reading, whatever it is that. In all her acts, a strange divinity shone. So, I say the strange divinity is linked up with love, which in the mother's language would mean the psychic being. All love was hers, and its one heavenly cord bound all to all with her golden tie. All love was hers. See, this is already the quality of Savitri's soul. All love. You see, Mother says, in order to bear the divine love, the supreme love, in order to bear hold the supreme love, you have to be absolutely pure and strong. The two conditions to bear the divine love are purity and strength. You have to be really pure and you have to be really strong to bear. Love can crush you, can kill you. You have to be strong for that. And divine love will act upon you only when you are absolutely pure. Now, this is important in the context of all that conjugal relationship which you have seen. 115.545. A tremulous blaze of nuptial rapture passed. Now, so it cannot be the vital love at all, the ordinary human love. Rapture, to bear that rapture, it has to be absolutely pure. So in their relationship, what we have is absolute purity. And at the same time, it is strong, full of strength. So it is not sexual intercourse at all. It is some other kind of a union which is really taking place here. You see. In all her acts, strange divinity shone. All love was hers. All love can be one's only when one is absolutely pure and strong. That is the first condition. And it's one heavenly cord. So one bit of it is enough to bind everybody all around, you see. Is one heavenly cord, bound all to all with her as golden tie. That is the oneness Savitri has already. In fact, towards the end, Savitri says also, no? 158.24. 158.24. You got it? We did it, of course, we did it. 158.24. Yeah. Awaken to the meaning of my heart, that to feel love and oneness is to live. And this, the magic of our golden chain, is all the truth I know or seek, O sage. Well, this is the condition. All love was hers, and its one heavenly cord, bound all to all with her as golden tie. But, well, this is one state. But the human Savitri is still human Savitri. That element is still present in her. You see. But when her greed to the surface pressed too close, these things, once gracious adjuncts of her joy, seemed meaningless to her. A gleaming shell or were a round, mechanical and void. They had no content at all. They were like shell. Her body's actions shared not by her will. Always behind a strange and divided life. So see how the poet is describing with full intensity the conflict which is going on in Savitri. Always behind this strange, divided life, her spirit, like a sea of living fire, possessed her lover, and to his body clung one locked embrace to guard his threatened mate. She would like to protect him in that embrace, one locked embrace to guard his threatened mate. And therefore, all night she woke to the slow, silent hour, brooding on the treasure of his bosom and face, hung all the sleep-bound beauty of his brow, or laid a burning cheek upon his feet. So she is pressing her cheek on his feet. Sleep-bound beauty of his brow. She is looking at him. He is asleep. But Savitri is awake, and she is constantly in that condition, brooding on the treasure of his bosom and face, hung over the sleep-bound beauty, because he is already asleep deep, of his brow, or laid her burning cheek upon his feet. Burning feet upon his cheek. Now this is what one would call the Vaishnava description, a woman devoting herself totally to her husband. Vishnu, he is present as Vishnu, and she is offering herself totally to Vishnu. Radha and Krishna, that is that love, burning, later burning. So this is a kind of Vaishnavite picture of intense relationship of the husband and the wife as divine partners of each other. She surrenders herself totally to him. And it is in that surrender she gets all the joys All the fulfillments of her life are in that, because she would get everything, whatever she wants from him, that way. Or laid a burning thing. So this is a typical Vaishnavite picture. It is not the picture of Shiva and Parvati of strong embrace and love, but the picture of surrender of the female to the male. Waking at morn, her lips endlessly clung to his, unwilling ever to separate again or lose that honeyed drain of lingering joy, unwilling to lose his body from her breast. The warm, inadequate signs that love must use. So the love is of a different type altogether, but how does it express? It expresses to these signs of joining together, of embracing, of kissing. That is what how love expresses there. They are the inadequate sign, unwilling to lose his body from her breast. They are embracing intimately like that. That is a sign. Or kissing, her lips endlessly clung to his. They are signs of love that must use on a physical plane. Intolerant to the poverty of time, her passion catching at the fugitive hour. The hours are flying very rapidly. Her passion catching at the fugitive hour. Will the expense of centuries in one day what she would get for a century? She wants all that thing in one day because the time is short, so short. Of prodigal love and the surf of ecstasy. Or else she strove even in mortal time to build a little room for timelessness. In mortal time to build a room of timelessness. In other words, the moment of their union, of their joyous coming together, is so bright, so beautiful, so living that it becomes timeless. It has lost the sense of time totally of their union, of their coming together. Strove even in mortal time to build a little room for timelessness. That is what happens here. By the deep union of two human lives, her soul secluded, shut into his soul. After all was given, she demanded still. All was given to her by Satyavan, whatever she wanted. Even by his strong embrace, unsatisfied, she longed to cry, O tender Satyavan, O lover of my soul, give more of love, while yet thou canst to her the lovest. Of course, she is speaking to herself. She is not speaking aloud to Satyavan. She is speaking to herself. Satyavan, tomorrow you will not be there. Pour yourself fully, more and more of yourself into me. Cry, tender Satyavan. So, in spite of his strong embrace, she feels that it is a tender embrace. Tender Satyavan. See. Of lover of my soul, O lover of my soul, give more of love, while yet thou canst. To her thou lovest. Imprint thyself for every nerve to give that thrills to thee the message of my heart. For soon we part, and who shall know how long before the great wheel in its bounces round restore us to each other and our love. Yes, tomorrow will not be there. Maybe in the cycles of time, in another birth, we'll come together. How long, how it will happen, I don't know. Before the great wheel, cycle chakra, Kala chakra, it bounces round the cycle of birth and death in that process. Restore us to each other and our love. She is so passionate. She is not speaking, but she is expressing it to herself. Well, this is what Savitri would speak according to the poet. She is not uttering, but he knows that this is what she means by all her actions and movements. Too well she loved to speak a fateful word. She does not want Satyavan to know what is going to happen tomorrow. She does not want at all. And lay her burden on his happy head, she pressed the outsurging grief back to her breast, to dwell within, silent, unhelped, alone. Unhelped because for two reasons. She does not want to torture Satyavan by that foreknowledge, to bring grief to him. Let him die if he has to die very quietly, very peacefully, happily, as if nothing was happening. So while he is living, let him live happily. She pressed the outsurging grief back into her brain, to dwell within, silent, unhelped, alone. Nobody is there to help her alone. Nobody can. Neither men around nor gods above. She is alone. But Savitri's condition is such that sometimes Satyavan feels something is disturbing Savitri. You see. But Satyavan sometimes half understood or felt at least with the uncertain answer of her thought-blinded hearts, the unuttered need, the unplumbed abyss of her deep, passionate want. Satyavan got kind of a hint, suggestion. Well, Savitri is looking for something deeper and deeper from me. He has no full knowledge at all what is troubling her, but he knows that there is something which Savitri is demanding from me. That something is troubling Savitri. All of his, with that still that vague feeling which he has, what is he doing? He tries to give as much time as possible to Savitri, to be with her as long as possible. All of his fleeting days that he could spare from labor in the forest. What is the labor in the forest? Hewing wood and hunting food in the wide silver glades, and service to his father's sightless life. He gave to her and helped to increase the hours by the nearness of his presence and his clasp, and lavish softness of heart-seeking words, and the close beating felt of heart on heart. He has to do his daily work, but whatever time he gets, he is devoting to Savitri. He is considerate about her. All of his speeding days that he could spare from labor, etc., he gave to her and helped to increase the hours by his nearness to her. He has no idea what she is demanding, but he is trying to be with her. He has got some little feeling, some kind of a suggestion of what is troubling Savitri, but he is not fully aware of it. So Satyavan is giving something to Savitri, but all was too little for her bottomless need. What Savitri is demanding something full Satyavan. He has to do his daily work, he has to attend to his parents, he has to do all his household work and all that kind of a thing. And whatever he could spare for her, that is too small, too little. You see. She wants all the 24 hours for her, which he cannot. You see. In his presence, she forgot a while. Grief filled his absence with his aching touch. When he is away from her, gone for work, then she is full of grief. And that grief is aching her breast. She saw the desert of her coming days, all lifeless expanses of time just stretching in front of her. Desert of her coming days. Imagine every solitary hour. Solitary, Satyavan is not there with her. So that hour, what is she seeing? She sees the endless spans of time like a desert spread without life, without love, without activity. Although with a vain imaginary bliss. Vain imaginary bliss. Vain. Because it is imaginary, therefore it is vain. Bliss of fiery union. What Savitri is considering is to be one with Satyavan by burning herself on the pyre after his death. Satyavan, burning body will be there, she would go and jump into that fire. Sati. Although with a vain, what is her idea? That it will lead to bliss, but it is imaginary bliss. Therefore it is vain. Although with a vain imaginary bliss, a fiery union through death's door of escape, that is the door of escape from grief and all that thing. Go away with him, disappear from this creation. Throw yourself into that burning fire of Satyavan, you see. A fiery union through death's door of escape. She dreamed of her body robed in funeral flame. She knew she must not clutch that happiness. But this is although. But she knows that no, she cannot take that path. She cannot follow that approach, that method. She knew she must not clutch that happiness, to die with him and follow, seizing his robe across our other countries, travelers glad into the sweet or terrible beyond. What is it beyond? We don't know. She wants to go a sati, immolate herself in the burning fire and be one with him all the while. What this world? What for? As a widow living here, a desert of life, nobody will respect me at all in this creation. My parents-in-law will say, this inauspicious girl has brought this calamity to us. They will hate me. They will drive me out of the house, you see. Because for them, their son is more dear, obviously, and he is no more there. So they will start accusing her. Everybody in the world, society, will start blaming her. She had taken the decision to marry in spite of the advice given to her by her mother. Don't follow that path. That mother again will come and say, Savitri, now you face your own fate. What can you do? I had given you the proper advice and the proper one. You didn't listen to us. You didn't hear that. To die with him and follow, seizing his robe. Now this is something deep. Why does the poet of Savitri speak at all about sati?
It was custom in India.
There
Very much. It was very much custom.
is a deep meaning in that.
Yeah, it was very much.
There is a deep meaning in that. Otherwise, you would not speak at all, you see. The poet of Savitri sees that there is a real deep meaning in that. I mean, when it becomes a social custom, then it gets degraded. It loses its value. But the occult truth behind it is very important, very significant, has a meaning. And from an occult point of view, that union is really remarkable union from an occult point of view. If with that purity you disappear yourself in the flame of your husband that way, that union really gets glorified. It becomes stronger, powerful, everlasting. So there is a certain occult content in that. So the poet is not just casually making a kind of a social comment. He is bringing the occult truth which is there behind going as sati. As a social system, there is a total degradation. They have to be separated. They have to be seen separately, all together. And the ladies did that thing very joyously, very happily, because it is another kind of union, another kind of a birth for them. They saw the occult meaning behind that. It's not this life and this body. It is the union of one soul with the other soul which remains together life after life. And it is that union for which they don't care about this physical body at all in that sense. See, this is a custom which is very important. In fact, one can keep on talking about it for hours about sati. Sati, the word sati comes from sat, truth. And the feminine of sat is sati, one who is holding truth. So you are really holding the truth of a spiritual value in your soul. And it is with that truth you are doing all your actions. So it is not the physical, that is immaterial then in that case, you see. There is some kind of a real relationship between the two souls, and it is that union of the two souls which gets purified in that burning fire, gets elevated, gets sanctified, gets rich in that fire, you see. There is an occult content in that, you see. Well, let me read a couple of things about sati before we move further. I got a lot of notes also, but
Why only the women jump in the fire? Why not the men? Huh?
because the psychic is more powerful. The psychic is more powerful. You see.
This is the inequality.
Yeah.
Gender
Why can't the widower die with his wife?
the gender bias of the
Yeah, it's true.
inequality.
It needs a certain spiritual quality, certain psychic quality.
True. It is not.
Yeah. Basically, see, the point is, yeah, what is true. But basically, you have to see it from the point of view of occult power. Power is the one who attains the presence. The divine Shakti is one who attains the Supreme Being. Supreme Being. In the absence of the Supreme Being, the divine Shakti has no value, no presence, no effect at all to do anything at all. So it is as good as for her to disappear. If she cannot act, why should she exist at all? What is important is the Supreme Being. He is the giver of the sanction of all the activity. She is the executor. She does all the work for him. And if he is not there, what work she will do? What work she will do? So withdraw. Be united with him and come again with him. Don't see on the human plane, but in the occult sense, in the spiritual sense, it is, nothing happens without his sanction. The mother says, he wills, I execute. Without his will, she cannot do anything at all. That is the occult law, occult truth. That is the very basic approach in the cosmic functioning everywhere. And it gets translated, degraded on the human plane. We are not bothered about the human plane. We are saying in the most fundamental manner. Actually, the story of Savitri, Sati, is a very rich story. It is a story described in the ancient scriptures of India. Sati, she is the daughter of Daksha. You heard of Daksha? Yeah, Daksha. And therefore she is also called Dakshayani. The daughter of Daksha is Dakshayani. And on one occasion, Daksha, King Daksha, had performed a huge big yajna. Yajna, sacrifice. Big altar, fire burning, all the priests are there, everybody is present and all that thing. It's a big function. So, yajna was being performed, for which all the great learned persons were invited by the king, by Daksha. Rishis, yogis, munis, priests, chanters, everybody was there. And they will pour ghee and ahuti and that kind of thing will go on like that. It has a power effect, certain things, you see. And Daksha did not invite Shiva. You remember, he did not invite Shiva because he thought that he is an ascetic, he is a sannyasi. He is not a man of world. So he neglected him. He did not invite with that reason. He is an ascetic, not concerned with the world at all. He lives in his own meditation and all that kind of a thing. But his wife, Sati, Dakshayani, she was not happy at all. She was not happy at all that her husband was not invited for this big yajna. You see. And therefore she immolated herself. That is an insult to my husband. She burned herself. Huh? Yeah. She immolated herself. Yeah. And when Shiva came out of his trance, out of his samadhi, and saw this thing, then he became really furious. What happened to her? Then again, out of his yogic tapasya, he brought her alive. Sati became alive out of his yogic tapasya. So that is the kind of power which is there, see, to really, so when you are really burning, you are really getting another birth of a different kind altogether, by the power of the being, or the power of Shiva, you see, indestructible. And that is the Sati, the real meaning of Sati, you see. So, Savitri is considering for a moment that perhaps it is good to go as Sati. When my husband dies, I will also burn myself on his fire. When his body is burning, I will also burn myself there. She thinks that thing for a while, although with a vague imaginary place of fiery union. She says fiery union, that's the most important thing. Fiery union. Through death's door of escape, she drained of her body. The Sati means a fiery union. Through death's door of escape. In fact, there cannot be anything nobler than that of unity of the two. She drained her body robed in funeral flame. She knew she must not, but then she is dismissing that idea because she is still mental. She is weighing all the pros and cons of every situation. She is dismissing. Why? She dreamed of her body. She knew she must not clutch that happiness to die with him and follow, seizing his robe across our other countries, travelers glad into sweet or terrible beyond. Because for those sad parents still would need her here. Satyavan has gone away. Who is going to take care of them? To help the empty remnant of the day.